Hey guys, biracial Tiffany here. Today I'm going to talk about college. A couple times it's been mentioned in the comments, I think maybe once in the comments, once in my inbox, about like someone biracial identifying more with their whiteness than their blackness until it comes time to apply for college. And I think that's a really interesting topic, and or just an interesting happening. I don't know. Anyway, I personally, and it's no surprise to people who watch this, thanks for watching, that I identified as black until a few years ago because I was told to and I accepted that. And so, I was always checking the black box. If anyone asked me what I was, which was never, I would have said I was black, though it was obvious to everyone and there was no question about it. So, it didn't occur to me when it came time to apply for anything that if there was a box like that to check, that I was checking the black box. I mean, I think in early elementary school when you take like in Michigan they're called MEEP, but some kind of test like that, I do remember asking my mom why I couldn't check white, Native American, and the box probably said black when I was that young, but maybe it said African American, I don't know. And, she was like, 'cause you're black. So, that I had certainly accepted that by the time I was 17 or 16 and applying to college. So it was like a huge surprise to me that I got well, in terms of tuition, I got a scholarship that paid my tuition for 4 years to the University of Michigan, which was such a blessing. And I had the nerve to not be 100% excited and grateful because I thought I wanted to go to school out of state. What? But this was a scholarship that they gave to minorities. And so I had no feelings of I shouldn't have this scholarship because I had lived my life, as a black person with a white parent. I would not have said even, I think had someone at that point asked me, what are you? I would have said, I'm black, but my dad's white. And that's probably why you're asking me, because you see something a little different in me. So I have no guilt or no shame that I accepted this scholarship because I am black, and that is how I lived my life, certainly to that point. And that's still how I live my life. I mean, look at me. But had I been a person who was like, no, I'm white too, or if I had any urge to deny my blackness or any shame about it or any sort of misgivings about my identity, and then I had applied for college and gotten that kind of a scholarship, I don't know, I'd feel really weird about being like, well, I've always been kind of ashamed and, disappointed that I'm black, but now it's really going to pay off, so let me check this box. I don't know. I think that's kind of, I don't know. Just the thought of that kind of bothers me. Now, on the other hand, I'm like, take advantage. But not if you don't think you're black. Like, there's some people on YouTube that, I'm not even going to say some people, I'm just going to say one. But, those of you who know who I'm talking about, that person probably got some sort of scholarship to a black school or for being African American. So it's just an interesting thing that must go on a lot, and especially now that I think there is more room for people to identify with both, or maybe one over the other. I don't know. I'd really like to know what other people have to say about it. This is the point where I'm like, I wish there was some little iChat thing that other people could talk to me right now, because this is where I need somebody to say something and, like, you know, help me keep talking. But I also wanted to say about college, and now we're just switching to my college experience personally. When I went to orientation at Michigan, it was clear to me that I was at, like, a minority orientation, where most of the people at this orientation weekend were African American. And there was, like, a big party, and I have to tell you that other than a family reunion, I probably had never been to a fun social gathering with a ton of black people. And I remember being like, oh my God, they sent me here because I'm black. And I'm gonna, like, that probably sounds like stupid, naive, racist, whatever. I was frightened, and I was really excited. And had I been forewarned that this was the situation, I think I would have only been frightened, and probably would have, like, built it up in my head, nobody's gonna like me, and I'm gonna be by myself, and they're gonna make fun of me and say that I talk white. But because I was just kind of surprised, I was excited and scared, because I was like, I kind of don't fit in here. I probably was like one of those bland white people that I just talked about. Not really, but I'm sure that I wasn't, like, going crazy and having a good time. I was really, like, observing. And, you know, I definitely remember the first little while at college feeling like there is room for me to really be black here, if that makes any sense, because in the all-white setting, I pretty much had no choice. I don't know that I would have made another choice, but, like, for me to have a social life and to fit in, I had to go along with the white culture, and I really enjoyed every minute of it. But I just, it was like I breathed a sigh of relief or something, that was like, oh, here's the space for me to, like, to really be black, like I've always said that I am. And my junior year for spring break, I went to Wales because our theater department's exchange program was with whatever drama university thing, so stupid, in Cardiff. I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called. And one of my friends had been the year before, and she was going back to see some of her friends, so, we just stayed with cool people, and I wanted to know if I wanted to spend a semester there, and it took me probably 3 hours and 45 minutes to decide that there was no way I was gonna ever choose to go somewhere where I would be the only person of color ever again. And that's interesting to me, because still, out of my college friends, most of them are white. And that's because the theater department was certainly mostly white. Anyone out there who, like, is looking to go to a drama school or musical theater or whatever, all I can say is, like, go audition, don't be afraid, because they need you to be there. That's something that I learned too, because when I was still in high school, I was afraid to audition for theater programs, thinking that I wasn't good enough or I wasn't going to get in. So I went to Michigan as, a student, not in the School of Music, and I quickly learned that they were, like, dying to have me in these programs. So just a word of advice, I had no idea. But anyway, it's just interesting to me that since all my friends pretty much were still white, but I still had this thing of, like, I just could never go back to being the only one. And so I had a great time in Wales. I spent a day or two in London and got pickpocketed, and that was kind of crazy. But I was so glad that I went for that vacation, because I probably would have just gone and not even thought about the fact that I'd be the only person of color there, and would have been unhappy when I got there to stay for a semester. So that's all I have to say today. Thanks everyone so much for watching. Yeah, that's all. Thank you very much.